We are planting onion sets today. This is one of the most foolproof ways to grow onions, and I'm going to show you how to do it. But before I do, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel for more health and homesteading content, and check out my memberships for some one-on-one support. Let's dig in. So a lot of people say that they have a really hard time growing onions, and the reason for that, well, there's plenty. One, they take a really long time to grow, so you have to plant them at the right time of year. If you're planting from seeds, then you would need to plant them in the fall. If you're planting from sets, you would plant them around now, springtime. Sometimes you can get them online, but these are sets and they're basically just little premature onions, like little onion teenagers. And this will just make growing your onions so much easier, and there's reasons for that. One, because you don't have to tend to them indoors for months before you set them out come spring. Two, they're already a nice size, so it's really easy to plant these. If you're not ready to plant them the day you get them, they're fine to be stored in a dark, dry, cool place. And you don't have to go through the work of thinning them if you've sown multiple seeds in one spot. So I've got different sets from the garden center. They're also pretty inexpensive. Wow. How much did you say these were, Stephanie? So 65 cents for 50 onion sets. That's pretty amazing. And you can get different varieties. I also like doing this because usually the garden centers will sell the varieties that you need for your zone. And that's another reason why onions will go awry when you're growing them, is because you picked some fancy variety online that is not suitable for your zone. There are short day onions and long day onions, which basically means that you are growing different varieties based on the number of daylight sun hours that you have. And so I'm planting these onion sets in this bed today. And the first thing to notice is there is a top and a bottom. So you'll see the bottom usually has some little roots. That's where more roots are going to grow. And then this is the top where your green foliage is going to grow. So we're going to be planting them in the ground just like this. And the bed that I'm planting them in today has some old collards that have gone to flower. And I usually love to let these go as long as possible because pollinators love the flowers. These are going to make great snacks for my animals. And very important, I'm not pulling them out. I only do that if a plant is diseased, and I do not compost it. These are perfectly healthy, and I'm cutting them at the base of the soil line in order to preserve the microbiome of the soil here. So I'm just cutting these out right at the soil. That's a big guy. I'll wait to get him. And now we're going to space these babies. So what I'm going to do is first lay them out, and you can mix up the varieties. It doesn't matter how you plant them. You can do a big mix together. But I am kind of getting an idea of my spacing here just by setting them out like this. So they're about 4 inches in between each one, and I'm planting them in diagonals. I'm going to do that along this whole bed. And all I've got to do is scoop back my mulch, get a nice amount of soil out, and I'm planting them just so the tops basically come to the soil line. And I can mulch lightly around them, but that's it. And next, these guys will grow green tops, and they will bulge out of the soil surface to give me some nice, big, beautiful onions. So we're going to go ahead and finishing up planting this bed. All right, this bed is completely planted with onions. And unlike other vegetable starters, we are not going to water these in. We're not going to water them at all, actually. We're just going to let rainfall take care of the irrigation for these onions. We do the same sort of thing with potatoes and garlic. We have a real light layer of mulch that they can pop through the greens of the onions, and but it's not too heavy, and we wouldn't want to use like wood chips because that would indeed block the growth of these onions. But this nice light shredded mulch will do just fine to keep the weeds at bay and to allow the greens to pop up. Now, as soon as they do pop up, when they're a few inches tall, I'm going to go ahead and fertilize them with my favorite liquid super tea blend of beneficial microbes and beneficial bacteria and a little bit of kelp meal. And I'm going to keep fertilizing them as often as weekly in order to get a nice big onion. And how will I know when these onions are ready? Well, you'll see them. They'll be big bulbous onions kind of popping out of the ground. And then the foliage on top will start to turn yellow. And once they do, it is time to pull them, harvest them, and cure them in a shady spot, but it's also hot. So if you have a spot outside that's like underneath your porch, away from rainfall, that's the ideal place to cure them so they will last and store the longest, up to 6 months sometimes. And so this bed's ready to go, and I will show you guys what to do next. Make sure to follow my channel so you don't miss it. Subscribe for more health and homesteading content, and check out those memberships for more one-on-one support.